Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing the second mission for the current event, but before we hop into that, let's go over some of the new things that came out with this update today. So we now have access and are able to purchase the newest, well the first I should say, German destroyer, Z1. I'm thinking about renaming her, so this might change, but right now she's Z1 and I have played one game with her so far. Um, Almost broke 200k. I can tell you my first impression of her is she's actually a really decent balanced ship. I haven't had a good chance to use her consumables to the max, so she does come with hydro, and she also comes with a torpedo reload booster, but no option at all for a smoke screen or speed boost. So you get what you get. Um, you are going to definitely want to put some skill points into turning and gun reload. And that's as far as I'm going to go right now until we actually review her. So if you are interested in her, she is a very decent ship, and she's actually quite a fun ship as well, but I've only had the one game, so my experience with her is still quite limited. Additionally, we have a new sister ship, this time for Temeraire. This is how it looks. It actually looks pretty decent. I do not have a new name for her yet. I'm thinking Bellerophon. I have not confirmed that. We'll decide that later on. But the camo is really, really good. I like the light blue up here. I'm not too much of a fan of the green, however, back here. But, I mean, it's a nice camo. Let's see, anything else? Nothing really. Alright, so for the events missions, I'm going to challenge myself. Like I said yesterday, I'm only going to use ships found in the tech tree. So yesterday we used Freddy de Gross, or H39. I can kind of use these missions to show off some of the sister ships that have come out after I've done videos on certain ships. So for example, we reviewed H39 before her sister ship came out. So we previewed her yesterday. Today we're gonna step it up a notch and actually go to a cruiser. So this time we're gonna use Fargo, which is not terribly one of the best cruisers that you can use in these missions, but it is possible. I did have her equipped with radar to see if that would work in the mission, but it didn't really. So I'm just going to go back to AA, even though there's no carrier in the second mission. So this is Huntington, as I've renamed her, and we're going to toss her into the second mission. This time, the stakes are a little bit higher. You do go up against a couple stronger ships, this time in the form of Synops, or at least Lord Constantine's is how they're actually named in game. You also have a Kronstadt, you have 2 Kirovs, 4 Krasny Kavkazes, and 2 Leningrads. Actually, I'm going to start with armor piercing. You're going to want to stay on the left side here, because you have the 4 Krasny Kavkazes that pop up here, along with the Leningrads, and then the battleships and the cruisers follow up later on, heading this way. So if you head towards the right, you're going to have to play catch up and catch all of them as they move towards this direction. So if you're already over here, then they pretty much come to you. So let's just start getting some shells in the air. We're already in range. Like I said, Fargo is definitely not one of the top ships I would recommend to use, but there's a sister ship for her that we have not seen yet, besides just in passing. So we're going to use her. And then for the remaining videos, or at least before the ultimate missions, I'm going to use tech tree ships that have new sister ships as well. But for the final missions, I will actually use top tier ships that I've seen in the past. Ships like France, Montana, and H-42. Those kind of ships, because those will give me the best chance of winning it, especially Montana. So now we're just working on these cruisers a little bit. I'm not too worried about these, obviously. And then we are just seating, or I'm getting sight on the battleships here. I'm gonna pop my fighter in the air to see if we can spot any of the destroyers as well. I'm gonna slow it down a bit while we finish up these cruisers. The armor piercing on the ship is actually really good if you get a broadside. Not even just on these cruisers, because this is just pretty much seal clubbing at this point. But even in just normal PvP or PvE games, this ship is actually doing really decent. I've played her a little bit more since her camo came out, because it's actually a really nice camo, and I've been pleasantly surprised by just how strong this ship can actually be. Now, I have actually already beat this level using this same exact ship yesterday. Okay, those aren't for me. But it is quite difficult to take on the battleships with this cruiser, even with the difference in tier. And then the Kurov and Kronstadt cruisers are quite quick on their feet as well. So you do have to give them a little bit more lead than you would think. Right, so we're just starting to whittle down some of the supporting cruisers here in a second. I'm going to have to kind of catch up with the rest of my group. There we go. Get some good shells in. Rate of fire is pretty good, as well as the accuracy on the ships. There's the Leningrads. Not too worried about the destroyers right now, but every little bit helps, because they will start tossing torpedoes around later on if they get close enough. And they've already gone into hiding, but we did set a fire and got some pretty decent damage, so she'll continue to burn a little bit. Now for the battleships, I really don't know what to use on them. High explosive doesn't do much because they don't have much superstructure, but they have enough armor to negate my armor piercing for the most part. It'll still do damage, just not a lot. Ooh, but we did get a double fire. Let's see if we can get another one actually. Maybe one or two more. You can have a maximum of 4 fires on a ship. Or at least a battleship. Also, I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied to my ship, so do keep that in mind. And it looks like we're only going to get 2 fires on here, so let's try and work over this one a little bit as well. The destroyers are out. So let's finish those up while their smoke screens are on cooldown. There's one. There's 2. This will not put her fires out. That hurt. It's not impossible to beat this level with a ship. It's just going to take a little bit of skill is all. I am going to actually pop a heal at this point. You don't get hit many times, but when you do, it's going to be a citadel probably. So I'm trying to look for some constant fire damage right now, because it looks like we are the favorite of the battleship, or at least this one. As you can see, I'm really just not doing anything with high explosive. And you know what, we're going to turn around fully. So we do have a fire going on that first battleship, so let's see what we can do to maybe start 1 or 2 on this battleship as well. Alright, so the first Synop has changed targets. We are no longer its priority target, and we have another fire. That's good. Maybe we can get a couple more. Highly doubt it though, but whatever we can send down range is appreciated. So the first Synop put out her fire. I'm not worried about the Kronstadt right now. She's just kind of chilling in the background. And then there's the last Kirov. Alright, I'm going to switch over to armor piercing at this point now. And just in time because we got a fire. Awesome. Yeah, so the Synop is healing, but we do have armor piercing on the way. You can hit, but as you can see, most of it just was outright blocked or ricocheted. But it does whittle her down a little bit by little bit. Let's see. I was going to try for that curve, but it looks like she's maneuvering and I don't want to mess around with that right now. I'm going to switch back to high explosive to finish off this battleship before she can heal again. And then we'll finish up the second battleship. And then we'll only have the last remaining cruisers, which should be a pretty much an easy walk in the park. Alright, so I'm going to stick with high explosive because even at this angle, my armor piercing is just going to bounce off. So we're just going to have to slowly do some superstructure damage and get some good fire damage, hopefully. There we go, there's one. I'm going to switch over to armor piercing now. Let's see if we can actually take out this cruiser while she's sailing in a straight line. Alright, that should finish her off. And then let's continue to work on this battleship here. So she is starting to angle back in towards me, so my shells will not be doing as much damage, but I do have that squishy kind of nose to work on a little bit too, so that'll help. Alright, so while the battleship straightens herself out, let's get some damage on this Kronstadt. Though she's kind of angling in towards us as well. A lot of shatters. I'll switch back to high explosive for a portion of time here. Battleship does not need much. And honestly, my seaplane can come back now. Still getting a bunch of shatters, so high explosive doesn't matter, armor piercing doesn't matter, you can still expect to get a ton of shatters on this ship, though it looks like she's going to go down to torpedoes here. And then we have the Kronstadt left, so we're going to pop our another heal while we have it, get another fire for the road, and we should be able to finish off with armor piercing and a couple salvos. So as you can see, it's not just an easy walk in the park with a battleship just one-shotting everything. Obviously, it would be a lot easier with a battleship, but you can easily do it with a cruiser as well. You just need to learn how to prioritize targets and make sure you're not the one being shot at. So with that, that wraps up the second mission. And we were able to do 307,000 damage, 9 ships were sunk, 570 shell hits, 32 citadel hits, 13 fires, 1 module destroyed, 2 secondary hits, and 2,500 base XP. Damages, 74,000 damage was in high explosive, 164,000 was in armor piercing, 67,000 in fires, and secondary battery actually did a little bit of damage at 380 damage done. So you can see here quite a few targets taken out. Those battleships especially had quite a bit of damage worked on. But yeah, that wraps up the second mission. We will be going over the third mission tomorrow, and I believe I will be using Vanguard and her new sister ship as well tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, stick around. and I'll catch you next time.